नहीं रुकेंगे, नहीं रुकेंगे, सबको स्वस्थ करेंगे, पूरा स्वस्थ करेंगे, नहीं थमेंगे, नहीं थमेंगे, अब ठान लिया है, मंजिल पाके रहेंगे, मंजिल पाके रहेंगे, मंजिल पाके रहेंगे।
Our tribal populations form only about 8.6% of our overall population. Many of these groups are ultra-marginalized communities who have little to no access to not only good health care, but suffer from hunger, extreme poverty, malnutrition, and disease. So we are now joined by a few members from the Musahar community to talk to us about the challenges they face and what they need. Now it's across to Bihar and to Parimal Kumar of NDTV. Parimal, over to you.
फिलहाल हम दरभंगा से करीब 70 किलोमीटर दूर हैं। कुबौल एक गांव है यहाँ पर, वहाँ पर पहुँचे और कोसी का इलाका है आसपास में, जहाँ पे कम्युनिटी रहती है। खाना तो चावल और गेहूँ मिलता है, लेकिन इसको बोलते हैं घोंघा, जो आमतौर पे पानी में होता है, और यही साग पानी में होता है। चावल के साथ आमतौर पे हरी सब्जी का कोई कंसेप्ट इनके पास नहीं है, क्योंकि अभाव में अभी भी जी रहे हैं ये लोग। जो मजदूरी की बात है, उस मजदूरी को लेके भी दिक्कत है, और तमाम चीज़ों को अगर जोड़ के देखेंगे तो स्वास्थ्य पे सीधे तौर पे किस तरीके से असर पड़ रहा है, वो इसी समाज में यहाँ पे करीब 300 घर है। ये बताया गया है कि यहाँ पे करीब 25-26 लोगों को टीबी है, और ये बच्चे आप देखिए कि किस तरीके से कुपोषित बच्चे हैं यहाँ पर। पुराने वक्त में था कि ये लोग चूहे खाते थे। चूहा खाना कब छोड़ दिए?
बहुत साल छोड़ दल के।
बहुत साल पहले?
हाँ, बहुत साल पहले छोड़ दल।
छोटी
अब माना जाता है कि ये चूहे खाने की जो प्रथा है ये अब बंद हो गई है, लेकिन किसी ज़माने में अगर ये प्रथा थी तो जीनियोलॉजिकली जितनी भी प्रजाति हुई वहाँ पर, उनके अंदर कुछ न कुछ ऐसे लक्षण होंगे जो कि चूहा खाने से आए होंगे।
पहले जो चूहे खाते थे अब नहीं खाते।
नहीं, हम नहीं खाते।
तो उसका कोई असर भी पड़ता था क्या शरीर पे?
नहीं, उससे कोई असर तो नहीं पड़ता था,
लेकिन अब छोड़ चुके हैं।
हाँ, अब छोड़ चुके हैं।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और परिमल ये रिपोर्ट हम तक लाने के लिए। रवि, हाउ डज वन इंश्योर दैट दीज प्रोग्राम्स they reach tribes like the Musahars?
Very interesting question, Sanket, again. As we have done from the season 7 onwards, leaving no one behind. So one of the major things is actually, making sure we reach to all the indigenous populations. In case of Maharashtra, Maharashtra was the first state where we started working in Nandurbar and Amravati. And we started working on the tribal populations here, on the nutrition, health, hygiene. We got a lot of learnings from here. From here, we took it to Gujarat now, where we are working with the Siddhi tribes, which were brought in India by the Nawab of Junagadh. So we work with them in, Gujarat. In the similar way, we have huge plans to reach out to the Musar communities in UP and Bihar, in both the states. We also saw there are a lot of tribes there which are there bordering MP and Rajasthan too, like Kanjars, Kalbelias, Nuts, Karnats, and all this. So we have huge plans to actually reach out to them and make sure the basic dignity of life by the virtue of health determinants can be achieved.
अठावले जी, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ। आपके मंत्रालय ने और सरकार ने वो कौन सी ऐसी मुख्य रूप से चुनौतियाँ हैं जिनको चिन्हित करके आप उस पर एक्शन ले रहे हैं, खास तौर से सोशल जस्टिस पे?
सोशल जस्टिस के साथ उनको एम्पावर करने की जिम्मेदारी हमारे मंत्रालय की है। एकदम तो परिवर्तन होगा नहीं, लेकिन हमने 8 सालों में माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने एक लक्ष्य बनाया है। हमारा पक्ष है गरीबों को उत्थान की दिशा से ले जाने का हमारा है लक्ष्य। तो हमारा लक्ष्य ये है कि भाई हर आदमी को बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर जी के संविधान ने रोटी कपड़ा मकान, हर आदमी को खाने के रोटी कपड़ा मकान मिलना ही चाहिए। आयुष्मान भारत योजना एक हमने बनाई है, और उसमें एक फैमिली को 1 साल के लिए 5 लाख रुपए मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट के लिए मिलते हैं। मेरे मंत्रालय का एक डॉक्टर अंबेडकर फाउंडेशन है, उसमें 3.5 लाख रुपए हम उस एक आदमी को दे देते हैं, जिससे ऑपरेशन हो, उसमें दवा हो, उसको एडमिट करना हो। तो ऐसी बहुत सारी जो स्कीम है, उस स्कीम के माध्यम से हम उनको स्ट्रेंथन करना चाहते हैं। हर आदमी को हमारे मंत्रालय का वेंचर कैपिटल फंड नाम का स्कीम है, उसमें शेड्यूल कास्ट के लिए 15 करोड़ तक हम लोन देते हैं। NSFDC उसके माध्यम से मतलब हम उनको 1 लाख, 2 लाख, 5 लाख, 10 लाख रुपए लोन देते हैं, वो अपना धंधा शुरू करते हैं। तो इसी तरह मतलब बहुत सारी योजनाएं हैं।
Anisha, you with Apollo Total Health. So when your mission is womb to tomb, where are the areas that the focus is on?
Our entire policy is such that the womb to tomb comes from first starting with a health camp. So early detection, let's understand, let's screen that village that we adopt. Our chairperson, Dr. Pratap C. Reddy's, very, very close to his heart is a place called Aragonda, very close to Tirupati. We have now explored about 5 different geographies, but if you go into Aragonda right now, we have practically screened every single person. And that health data helps us to come up with a very good data-driven interventions. And we look into both your NCDs, non-communicable diseases, and seasonal flus. And because you have the data, it's so much easier for us to set up the war rooms.
Yeah. So in fact, you just referenced Aragonda. So we're now just going to go across live to Aragonda village in the Chittor district, where the Apollo Foundation launched the first integrated rural healthcare delivery network. And now, in partnership with Reckitt, the first children's hygiene park has been established. We are joined by Sam Daniel, who will take us through this park.
We are right outside a first of its kind hygiene play park. The park that helps children to come here to play and to have fun, also learn some hygiene lessons so that the hygiene habits will change over time. This park in that sense helps them to revive those habits, start early.
Dr. Reddy, we saw this wonderful concept of the hygiene play park. Could you tell us more about how children can play a role as hygiene ambassadors?
2/3 of the children's disorders are from diarrhea and pneumonia. I think this is where, if their hygiene is practiced, you can prevent both of these major problems. That means you can eradicate 2/3 of the pediatric health problems by hand washing. But in the park, they not only enjoy seeing the park, they play games. In all of these, I think, whatever has been created, thanks to Reckitt, the model that has been created in our village.
We do get a sense of what that park was all about.
Getting children involved in games which, things like hopscotch.
Correct.
Which used to play as kids.
Correct.
But now converting it into some kind of an activity which is going to lead up
Correct.
to something more important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, Siddharth. You played Captain Vikram Bhatra. So what kind of training did you do? And personally, in your life, how important is sort of staying physically fit, in terms of health? How important is that?
We were shooting at about 14,000 feet above sea level. But the actual war actually happened much higher, 16,000 feet and above. But coming back to our fitness, we were training on getting our stamina. We acclimatized for about a week. We trained with the Indian Army. We used to carry backpacks of 20 kilos and climb up. And while shooting, we did the same. Regular exercise is a part of my daily habit. It's something that I'm addicted to. It's something that I recommend everyone to do.
You looking at total health from when they're children all the way. So when it comes to this park, what was did you have in mind when Apollo set this up? What was really the aim?
Today, when you bring children to a park, they are not collaborative anymore. They are shy, they are introverted. So if you have to open a park, it also meant give them an opportunity to collaborate. And this play park obviously has a lot of hygiene messages that the children are the advocate for the future. They take it back home, and the family are also educated through the children, but it also gives the child in the park to collaborate with each other.
Ravi, Reckitt was involved in this creation of this hygiene park. Is this something that you can scale up? Can it go to more villages? Is this a plan? Can it be taken to more children?
We are seeing it flourishing, and we have the request from at least 7 states now. The next will be in Gorakhpur. The other states also, like Uttarakhand is also, they have come to us, and now we are actually partnering with them, like in Chamoli district in Uttarakhand. So we have some, interesting collaborations which are under pipeline with McKinsey. We will be coming up soon, how to scale it up in a more efficient way, which will be a win-win for India and Bharat both.
We have Rais Khan joining us with his team. He's a percussionist, folk musician, who's actually composed some songs on this topic of hygiene.
हथड़ा करया गीला धुलते हुए साफ पानी में हथड़ा करया गीला थोड़ो सो डिटोल लगायो 20 सेकंड धोया थोड़ो सो डिटोल लगायो 20 सेकंड धोया साफ पानी में हथड़ा सोया हथड़ा हुआ साफ पानी में हथड़ा सोया हथड़ा हुआ साफ पानी में हथड़ा सोया हथड़ा हुआ साफ आगे साबुन लारे पानी छेटी छेटी लगाओ आगे साबुन लारे पानी छेटी छेटी लगाओ अरे निमोनिया सु बच्चन रो ओई गतरे को छुटाए निया सु बच्चन रो ओई गतरे को मंजिल पाके रहेंगे
I'd just like to ask the Education Minister of Nagaland, Mr. Elong, as the Education Minister, what are the steps that you're taking that hygiene can be inculcated amongst the children?
Sir, you would be glad to know that some of the cleanest villages in the whole country are in the northeastern villages, northeastern area. And as an education minister, I take care of higher education. We are very serious about not inculcating fear, but inculcating the right knowledge of holistic hygiene and holistic health. There have been places in our Nagaland, as far as Noklak district, where one of the superintendent of police, one madam, IPS officer, Mrs. Betty, she did a wonderful job. Because in such places, the menstrual hygiene was a very, very big issue. I don't want to elaborate on the media how the problems were. But she took the initiative with the community, with the women, and then today they are able to be hygienic and they are able to, get the benefit of menstrual hygiene without having so many problems and diseases that the women folk in the community were.
Temjenji is also known as the viral minister, and he knows how to have fun in politics and also communicate.
Still get your message across.
Yes, that's his strength. We are happy to introduce Soumya Swaminathan also.
I do just want to thank you so much for joining us today. Actually, more than that, for being such a brilliant voice throughout the last 2.5 years. How much have we learned since then? How much do we know now? Are we 80% clear about this particular virus?
We've learned a lot over the last 2.5 years, but I think the virus still has surprises in store for us. And one of the things we don't know is exactly how it's going to evolve. The hope is that the Omicron and its subvariants will be the predominant ones, and that slowly the human race has acquired immunity, enough immunity to protect against the severe consequences of this infection, even though we may continue to get repeatedly, just like we get cold every year. The colds are due to the same coronavirus family. Having a cold before doesn't stop you from getting another cold due to a coronavirus. But we don't get sick. And so hopefully this virus will also become something that doesn't sicken the majority of us.
Ma'am, this is Amitabh Bachchan. I just want to ask, there's been a lot of controversy about the validity of the vaccine. There is some kind of a discussion going on that this is just a common flu. It's not COVID.
The vaccines that are developed are actually of very high efficacy and safety. All of them, all of the vaccines that the WHO has approved, we have about 11 of them. And what they do is prevent severe disease. This virus, maybe because we're newly exposed to it, maybe over a period of 100 years, it will become like influenza, or maybe even less than that. But right now, it is causing much more disease and fatalities as compared to influenza. And secondly, unlike the influenza vaccines, these vaccines are more effective. So just because we get the infection after getting the vaccine and the booster, we shouldn't think that the vaccines are ineffective.
Thank you, Dr. Soumya Swaminathan. Thank you so much for joining us.
तेरे दिल की
I think it will be important for people to know the sort of work you are doing for heart and cancer patients. So would you like to tell us a little about that?
Yes, so I've been running this mission which is called Saving Little Hearts. So ever since I was 7 years old, I've been singing for heart patients. So all the remuneration from my concerts goes for the surgeries of patients who are suffering from heart diseases. And so far, 2,522 patients have been saved through my concerts. It's a mission of me and my
Since
brother.
you've been a little kid. Wow.
Fantastic.
Thank you. So doctors allow me to be there in the surgery, and I pray and I chant mantras, and I stay connected with the patients also. It's like a family of more than 2,500 children now.
Fantastic. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
Last month, Dettol launched India's first and largest hygiene Olympiad, which reached 24 million children in 850,000 schools, 850,000 schools across India. And we are joined by some of the winners. I would like to invite them on the stage. अभी हमने थोड़ी देर पहले देखा यहाँ पर बच्चों को हाइजीन ओलंपियाड के लिए सम्मानित किया गया। ये जो बिहेवियरल नजेस हैं कि थोड़ा सा प्रोत्साहन करना, थोड़ा सा बताना, ये कितना जरूरी हो जाता है?
एक चीज जो हमें याद रखना पड़ेगा कि बच्चों के साथ थोड़ा सा नज चाहिए। जैसे अगर आपको कहीं टाइम से पहुंचना है और अगर आप हमेशा लेट जाते हैं तो देन इट्स अ हैबिट दैट यू हैव डेवलप्ड। So how do you start becoming a punctual person? It's similarly, how do you always remember to wash your hands is something that we develop through reminders, through repeated practice. अगर खुद नहीं जल्दी से सीख पाते हैं तो याद तो दिलाना पड़ेगा. So that is very essential in habit development in anybody, not just children.
When we were kids, when he was a kid, not long ago, people used to say, if you do this, the big bear will come and you, so then kids, but is fear a bad thing to use or whatever works?
Fear is not a bad thing, but it has to be balanced with something we call self-efficacy. Self-efficacy, your ability to do something for the fear. So when you have too much fear, the theories we have show us that you tend to ignore the risk. Like when you put cigarette packet warnings, you see it's so much fear without giving people the tools to overcome that fear, right?
बचपन से ही हम लोग को बताया जाता था ना, खाना खा लो वरना वो आ जाएगा, गब्बर आ जाएगा या शेर आ जाएगा।
ये जो नज वाली बात थी, इस पर हम ये बता दें, ये एक कॉमिक है जो कि दिलेन में भी, we all have a copy of this, and this is the very beloved Chacha Chaudhary right here.
Jyotsna, tell us, where did you get inspired or what was really the thought behind this?
Kids love stories and they love comic characters. And Chacha Chaudhary is one character, he cuts across generations. That group of characters, they cut across generations and the result is in front of you.
Okay, बच्चों, तो आज हम ये बनेगा स्वस्थ इंडिया जो इसका अभियान है, उससे जुड़े हुई एक कहानी सुनेंगे जिससे हमें ये पता चलेगा कि स्वच्छता का महत्व क्या है, कितना इम्पोर्टेंट होता है स्वच्छ रहना स्कूल में।
बच्चों, पेड़ों में हमें अच्छू! टिंकू, तुम्हारे पास रुमाल या टिश्यू पेपर नहीं है क्या? सॉरी मैम, भूल गया। जाओ अपने हाथ साबुन और पानी से धोकर आओ।
टिंकू जैसे ही बाहर गया तो आवाज आई,
बचाओ बचाओ।
बाथरूम बहुत ही गंदा है, यहां तो कीटाणु ही कीटाणु है।
उफ़ो, इतनी गंदगी, भागो! हमारे स्कूल में कीटाणुओं ने हमला कर दिया।
डरो नहीं, बस फोन लगाकर इसका भी इलाज करता हूं। और कुछ ही मिनटों में शक्तिमान और फौलादी सिंह आ जाते हैं। इन कीटाणुओं की तो ऐसी की तैसी करनी होगी। तभी शक्तिमान हाइजीन कॉर्नर का सारा सामान ले आया और डेटॉल हैंड सैनिटाइजर और डेटॉल हैंड वॉश से एक एक बच्चे के हाथ धुलवाए। असली सुपर हीरो वही होता है जो स्वच्छता से रहे, क्योंकि जो स्वच्छ है वो स्वस्थ है। राइट? समझ गए? तो इसका सीख क्या है कि स्वच्छ रहोगे तो स्वस्थ रहोगे। तो अब जब स्कूल जाओगे तो ये सब बातें याद रखोगे ना? ठीक है ना? बिल्कुल। ऑल द बेस्ट। आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी गुड इनिशिएटिव, बिकॉज ऑडियो विजुअल मीडियम से आज पढ़ाई भूल गए हैं लोग। जो ये पढ़ाई का एक इनिशिएटिव है कि कॉमिक्स के थ्रू, आई थिंक इट्स इम्पोर्टेंट with the message, the reading ability is also maintained. So yeah, it's a very nice.